Okay, we are back for another COVID tone and trying to mix things up a little bit as we had some viewers kind of make some suggestions. So we're going to mix things up and still do our normal dynamic warm up, and then we'll do our cool down. But we'll try to mix things up a little bit as far as the actual aerobic activities and more working on a little bit of stretching and core stabilization today. So let's enjoy. So let's start out with our stretching of our calves again. So again, if I'm leaning up against the countertop here, I'm just trying to stretch out those calves. I can do 1 foot forward and stretch out this left one. Try and keep that knee as straight as I can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to just do 3 of each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And lastly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're just going to switch over to the other side. Same thing. That's getting all gastroc. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Aerobically, especially if you're going to go off for a run, I'd actually get you to stretch your soleus. So same activity, only now you're bending your knee to the floor, trying to keep your heel down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And last one of that soleus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Most people are going to feel that just a little bit lower in their gastroc or in their lower leg. Again, other side, you're just bending that knee down, trying to keep that heel on the floor for 5 seconds, and then relax. 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, then we're going to go right into hip hamstrings and hip flexors. Again, you can hang on for balance. If you people that are a little bit more balanced, you can try not to hang on, but you're trying to loosen up the arm, loosen up the leg, and just nice and easy. 5 easy ones. And again, this is all to your tolerance. It's what you're capable of doing, not what you got to try to match with me. If you're doing better than me, go a little bit faster. Okay, so now we're going to try to get a little bit higher, a little bit higher. And last 5, really stretch it out forward and then kick yourself in the butt. Stretch it out forward, kick yourself in the butt, and then you'll feel that hamstring on the front, and then when you go to the back, you feel that hip flexor. So that trying to get that to bounce back out. And sometimes it takes a little bit to get coordinated. You'll want to go same arm, same leg, but you got to try to be opposites just like you're running, okay? Then flip over to the other side, same thing. It can be a wall, it can be countertop, tree, it doesn't really matter. Again, the more you're going forward, the more you pull your toe towards your nose, and the more you keep your knee straight, the better on the forward part. When you go backwards, you're trying to kick yourself in the butt. So it just takes a little bit of balance and coordination to get that all down. Start to pick up your speed and try to go increasing your range of motion and really kicking that out forward and backwards. Loosening that up, getting your heart rate to come up a little bit, and getting a little bit of warmth. Okay, so this next one, you're going to get to see my best side. So we're just going to be standing in front here, and then we are going to kick to the inside and up, and the outside and back. Inside and up, outside and back, and I'll show you that from this other side. So I think I can show you in the video with hanging on here, but I'm probably going to kick the chair is inside and up, and outside and back. So again, start with 5 nice and easy ones. I usually like to hang on to something right in front of me doing that. Again, I'm stretching my glutes when I'm coming this way, stretching my adductors when I'm going that way. So just nice and easy. And I can get that opposite arm swinging the opposite way as well. So nice and easy for 5. And then again, picking up your pace and picking up how far you can go. And again, all this stuff I'm trying to get you to do is really trying to do it at the pace that you can do and at the reps that you can do. So it's not about speed, it's not about keeping up to me on chair squats and lunges. I had some people say that chair squats and lunges were killing them. You got to do it to your pace and your speed, okay? So another 5, kind of cranking it up a little bit more with the speed.
Good job. It's 5 o'clock in the morning here, so I'm sure everybody's super excited and up and at 'em already today. Good. Okay. And then we have been swinging our arms, so we've been getting a little bit of this as we've been doing those warm-ups. And so now let's just kind of do a few circles forward. And again, start small, keep those elbows straight, and then get bigger and bigger forward. About 5 small ones, 5 big ones. And then backwards, 5 small ones, 5 big ones. Loosening up those shoulders to the ability that you can do. And then a little bit of self-hug. So you're just kind of hugging yourself and crossing over between each one, trying to get the back side of you to stretch that out and just loosen up those shoulders. And we're ready to warm up here. Okay, so we're going to go right into some wonderful stuff for core stabilization, okay? And I'm going to reset the camera here so we can get down on the floor and kind of do some of those things, okay? Okay. So we're going to get ourselves down the floor. You can do it on the bed if you want to. We'll see if I stay in focus here. So first thing we're going to do is just a little bit of, let's see if I get which way I go here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is just a little bit of bridging. Let's go up. Try to keep yourself nice and solid. Hold for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to do 10 of those where we're coming up, holding yourself nice and solid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. Again, we're going to slowly kind of work into everything today and work on more core strength and stabilization around your hips and your abs and low back, okay? So there's 4. I'll say for the people that feel like this is easy, we can make things harder here. So people that's been difficult for, let's stay with that. People that felt like that was a little bit easy, let's go up. Keep yourself nice and straight, and then try to lift the leg straight on out. Pull your toe towards your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bring that leg back down. Put your butt down soft. And then we're going to rotate to the other leg. So up straight. Key is that you stay straight. So if you have a tendency to fall or tilter, then you shouldn't be doing that. You should stay with just the 2 legs. But if you can keep yourself straight without tilting or without dropping your butt down, then I want you to go up, keep yourself nice and solid, and then kick on out straight. Try not to be digging your elbows in really hard. That's cheating a little bit. So again, if you're ultimately doing this, you can have your arms across your chest, lifting up, and then kicking that leg out solid. Hold for 5 seconds, and then relax. And that will really increase that core strength and stability and help people out with their low backs as far as injury prevention stuff. So this is a lot of stuff that I'm going to teach you if you come in here with back pain. So if you can do it prior to having back pain, hopefully you won't ever have to see me, okay? Okay, there, I think we got about 10 of those there. So that is the way, 2 different ways to kind of make those things a little bit harder, okay? So now we're going to try some planks. So we're going to just do some sideline planks. Again, I'm going to start with easy, and we'll try to make it a little bit harder. So we'll get back here so hopefully you can see everything. So easy way, again, I am all the way forward, so you can't really see that very good. If I have my butt tucked behind me and I do this, it's going to be really easy, okay? If I have my butt tucked underneath me and keep myself straight, and again, if people have some shoulder issues, that might be a little bit harder for them, they can put some pillows in here and try to take some of that stress off their shoulder, okay? And so all we're going to do is we're going to plank on our knees. This is a good way to get started. Again, we're just going to come up, get our hip off the mat and the floor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then relax on down. And again, we can make this as hard as we want. We make this as easy as we want. I think this is a good way to get started, and then I'll show you that progression again. So there's 2 of them. So we're just holding for 5 seconds. And again, if you only get 2 or 3 of these done and you're just out of gas, then do 2 or 3. That's better than nothing. And that's what we really want to get accomplished here during the COVID time, is that we want to keep moving. We don't want to sit there and not get anything done.
as I've been seeing some patients coming back that really haven't been able to do much, and therefore they're starting to have some pain that comes with that getting weak, okay? So we'll do one more here, just the easy way. And then for people that was actually hard, I want you to continue to do that one, okay? So keep on doing that as I talk people through the next hardest thing. So the next hardest thing is obviously making a bigger lever arm. So now we get all the way out. Can't see my feet there, doesn't look like, but I'm on my feet. And now we're gonna go up on my feet. And again, a lot more strenuous. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and back down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and back down. So all that should really kind of contract these muscles here, hold yourself nice and solid, and you're trying to stay straight. If you kind of falter and come down, then you're not working yourself as good as I'd like. So go back to the easy way until you get strong enough to kind of do the opposite way, okay? So now, after about 10 of them, we're just gonna spin around. So you can just roll over, to be honest. So again, if you're on this side, you can come over to this side. We're going back to the easy way. Keep those hips forward and hold up there for 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and back down. Like I said, other than your shoulder, this is a pretty easy one to start to get the core stabilizing and working what it needs to do. So I think everybody should be able to do this, other than if you have a shoulder issue, then it's probably going to have to modify it a little bit. And like I said, putting some pillows underneath there, you can modify it that way. You just got to get some space here so you get that muscle to tighten up. Again, if that was easy, you're going to come out here and you're going to lift up, hold yourself for 5, trying to keep yourself nice and straight as much as you can, and then back down. 2, 3, 4, 5, back down. So those people that think that this is really easy, the next step, next time we can do this, or as you progress yourself at home, the next step you can do is actually single leg doing this. So if you come up and then you start to swing your leg back and forth, kind of like we're form running, that's another way of just doing 5 reps of that. Come back down and relax. That gets very strenuous, really hard on the core, really hard to do that, but also very strength building for you. So you would go up, keep yourself balanced, leg and arm, opposites, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and come back down. Really hard to do a whole lot of those. So that's, again, you can start with doing just 2 reps, take a break, 2 reps, take a break, work yourself up to 3 reps, work yourself up to 4, 5. Just keep on slowly progressing yourself and prescribe a little bit more as you're capable of doing that, okay? Okay, next thing we're gonna do. So this is a good, we call it bird dog in physical therapy. So again, I'll show you on the front side. You're trying to keep yourself, actually we'll go to the side. Trying to keep everything nice and straight. So if you look at my back, it should look like a TV table. It's nice and straight. And if I had a drink back there, I can have a drink back there without spilling it. To start out initially, you're just gonna kick one leg behind you, try to keep everything nice and straight, hold for 5 seconds, and then relax. And bring that leg straight on in. Again, opposite leg, hold it straight out there for 5 seconds, and then bring it back in. Again, that's all you have to do. Again, this is, if you got good shoulders and good or knees, you can do this. You can do this on the bed if it's a little bit softer, or have a yoga mat on. But you're just going from side to side, holding for 5 seconds, and trying to stabilize your low back. And then obviously the knee that you're kneeling on, you're having the strength through your hip on that side. So this is just a good way to kind of get some of that going on. If this becomes easy, what I want you to do is, I got my right leg kicked out behind me, and now I'm going to kick out my left arm in front of me. I'm looking straight towards the floor, so I'm keeping my neck in good spinal position. Hold for 5 seconds, and then I'm just opposite it, left leg, right arm, head looking straight towards the floor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. I'm just going to go back and forth Try and get some stabilization there, okay? Again, this is not about speed. This is more of a yoga kind of Pilates mode of slow, controlled, and stable position. So if I'm all over the place, then I just need to go back to the single leg, okay? So I need to really stay as steady as I can and keep my spine in neutral position as much as I can to really hold and stabilize that, okay? So that's a really good one for that low back. So we did some butt, we did some obliques, and we just did some low back stuff. So I'm just going to show you from this front side. You can see my wonderful hairline, and my kids enjoy. And so I'm just kicking left leg out, right leg or right arm, hold for 5 seconds. And again, I don't want to look up. I should be looking straight down at the floor, keeping my spine in perfect neutral position. And then same on this side. Looking straight at the floor, keep my spine in perfect neutral position, and slow, steady holds, and just kind of going back and forth. And again, some people will fatigue after 5 reps. Some people are going to fatigue after 25 reps. That's okay. Do it to your tolerance. And then when you come back and do it next time, you watch the video next time, try to remember, did I do 5 reps? Because now I'm going to try to do 6 or 7. If I did 25 reps, I'm going to try to do 30. So everybody has their own abilities, and we just got to work to those abilities when we're at home, okay? It was a beautiful morning out as well, so again, I would strongly encourage everybody to get out there and walk as much as you can. Walking's a great thing as long as you keep your social distance. That's perfect for people to get out there and get some exercise, get the heart pumping and aerobic activity. Okay, so that was a little bit of low back. Now we're going to go over to the glute, okay? So same position, but now we're going to act like we're a dog peeing on the fire hydrant. So all we're going to do is stabilize on that left leg, and then we're going to whip that right leg out like we're peeing on the fire hydrant. Hold for that 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come back down. Again, lots of people want to do this with speed. It's not about speed. It's about slow, control, holding, and then coming back out. Slow, control, holding, coming back out. Again, if this is easy for you, it's because you have 3 limbs on the ground. So there's 4 right here. And then we'll kick up to 5. So people that was hard for, keep on doing that same thing. Look out like you're peeing on the fire hydrant. If that was easy, let's leave that leg there and bring this arm out right there. So I'm peeing on the fire hydrant now and doing that opposite arm a little bit harder for me. Okay. And again, I can do all to the one side, or I can alternate. It's not that big a deal for me. I do like a little bit of alternating because that's how we do when we walk. We're opposite arm and leg. So if I wanted to, I could pee out to the other side and bring that arm up here. Or I could just do 10 on one side and come back and do 10 on the other side. That is not a big deal. It's whatever's comfortable for people. And sometimes some people's brains work a little bit one way versus the other, as far as counting to the 10 and doing all those, or just alternating. Good, I'm going to show you that from the side. Again, you're just here. Initially, you're just coming out to the side and peeing on the fire hydrant, holding for 5, and coming back. You shouldn't get a whole lot of back rotation, so you shouldn't look like you're way up here. So you should just get it coming from your hip joint and your back still staying relatively level. So if I had a drink back on my back, I'm trying to maintain that drink and not spill it versus turn so much that I spill it off my back, okay? My back's still that TV table that I'm trying to hold that drink on there without spilling it, okay? So again, this is more gluteus medius. I'm stabilizing on the leg that I'm on, and then I'm actually strengthening the leg that I'm lifting as well. So again, I didn't count very good, so you guys can keep your count, or otherwise you can go back to that and then your opposite. Again, try to keep your spine in neutral position as much as you can. That will help that stabilization as far as keeping that strong when you're sitting and when you're walking and when you're doing physical activity, okay? Okay, so that was a little bit more glute. So now we're gonna go back to abs, okay? I'll say one of the hard ab ones. So we don't do very much traditional sit-ups anymore, just because when you come up, as your abs are contracting, it really has a tendency to push on your abdominal contents, your intestines, and so we have two exits of our body, so we can, well, this is an entrance, but it can be an exit too. So coming up or coming down. So when I squeeze down like a traditional sit-up, I have a tendency to put a lot of force on those abdominals and push down on my pelvic floor. And so anybody with urinary incontinence, fecal incontinence, those things are hard on people. So we try to avoid those nowadays. So instead, we do what's called a posterior pelvic tilt. If you haven't ever done one of these before, it's a little bit harder. You have to think a little bit more, but we can get it down. So let's try. So you're just going to be in this hook line position with your knees up. You're going to be laying back on your back. And then you have to think about, I want to have an arch in my back. So some people are just a flat back person, so it's already flat down, okay? I want you to think about, if you had a little grape back here right now, if I tightened up my tummy and pull this around, can I smash that grape? And so I can do that if I lift my butt. I can kind of do that same thing, but that's a glute exercise. I want you to try to keep your glutes flabby and try to just work your lower abdominals. So this is something basically from the belly button down into your pelvis that's really important for your core strength, okay? So I'm just laying here. I got a little arch in my back. I can actually put my hand back there. Got my hand back there, and I'm just trying to smash my hand, but only use my tummy muscles to do that. So if I do that and I feel my butt cheeks coming up, it's because my butt's doing it, okay? So I want to come back. I want to tighten and smash my hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. And so I'm going to have you feel a couple different things so you can feel if you're doing it right or not, okay? And again, your head should be looking towards the ceiling, and you should be holding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. And every time you tighten, you should feel the weight getting squashed in your hands when you're back here like this, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then relax. I'm not sure if you can see it with my black shorts on there, but basically what's happening is my pelvis is up this way, and then when I tighten, my pelvis tips back this way. So you could feel your hand back there squashing the grape, or you can kind of stick your fingers into your belly. So if you stick your fingers in your belly and you tighten up, you'll feel your fingers pop up, and you'll be able to actually even see my hands. So when I squash the grape, you can see how my fingers kind of pop out of there. I want to hold that for 5 seconds, and then I want to relax. And so that's not causing that, at least not causing as much of that downward pressure that would be hard on people's pelvis, or pelvic floor. So this is a good way to kind of get lower abs kicking in without having the strain on your pelvic floor or your low back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then relax. And again, what I want you to notice is that my fingers are popping out, and then if you look down here, it's rotating backwards, and so that's smashing the grape at the same time. So we're just trying to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, relax. Some people will get this right away. Some people it'll take a little while to get to. So just try to keep that spine in neutral. Try to breathe, because people want to hold their breath when you're trying to breathe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. For those people that's hard for, keep on doing it that way. For people that seemed like it was easy, what I want you to do next is go back to putting your hand behind your back, and you're squashing that grape, okay? See if you can maintain that grape squashed. So you tighten up your tummy, squash that grape. You're going to lift one leg just barely off the ground. Can you keep your grape squashed? If you lose your squashing of your grape, your back's arching up, then you're not able to do this exercise. If you can keep that grape squashed, hold for 5 seconds, and then back down. And then we're going to alternate, squash the grape, lift the other leg, hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and put that leg down, relax the grape. So as long as you can keep that grape squashed, you're strong enough to move a leg and not have compensation in your low back. But if you're not, then you got to just work on squashing that grape first, and we'll eventually get to this. So if people have that grape squashed and they're doing awesome, then the next step with this would be
a longer lever arm. So you would squash the grape, hold that down. Now you kick that leg out straight. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put the leg down, and then relax the grape. So it's systematic. Grape squashed, leg out, hold that grape squashed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bring it back down, and then relax the grape. Again, this is kind of that yoga Pilates mentality of you have to do it in a systematic order. You have to have good core and stabilization, and you're turning on certain things at certain times and shutting them off at certain times to really make it functional. So grape squashed, kick on out, maintain that grape being squashed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bring that leg back in, and then relax. A lot of people will just, as they're putting the leg down, they'll relax their belly at the same time. You're going to get much better benefit if you can squash the grape, kick the leg out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bring the leg back down, and then relax the grape. So there's more advancement off that we can keep on doing, but for right now, I think that's enough for most of us out there.
Okay, let's see what we got for time, and we'll kind of go from here. So Michelle gets to cut and paste me. Okay, so that was a good core stabilization. And again, today we did just 1 set of 10. You guys might have done more than that when I was talking to Advance the Next People. You can do 2 sets of 10. You can do 3 sets of 10 to your tolerance. I can't emphasize that enough. When I do those chair squats or when I do those lunges, it's really about what you're capable of doing, not what I'm always doing. So feel that you got to feel like you got to do what you are capable of doing. And then again, my expectation is maybe in a week you add 2 or 3 reps, or maybe you add 5 reps. That's what's got to be your goal and where you want to end up eventually. So I'm here to kind of get you the ball rolling, but you got to have that mentality of how you're going to progress yourself independently at home. Okay, we're going to finish up with our stretching here. I'm going to show you just a few different ways how to do our stretching. So in the last couple videos, that's my traditional way, but if you're out and about, there's other ways to kind of do certain stretches. And so I'm just going to give you some options to finish those up, okay? So we're going to come back, and we're always going to stretch your calves out when you get done with a jog or an exercise. Those are big muscle groups. So again, you can see my feet here, I believe. So we can do it this way, like we did when we warmed up. You can kind of do it, you can see I can do both at the same time, and I can do one leg or the other leg as long as I'm keeping my heels down. And then I can do that soleus where I got one knee bent and then the other knee bent. I can do all that. If I have a curb or a step, I can do the same thing on those. Again, it's really about not bouncing. It's slow and controlled. You're just letting your heels sag down. I'm holding for 5 seconds, and then I just kind of relax up. And I gotta let them hold down there for 5 seconds and relax up. I'm stretching the same thing. I'm just using my body weight to get that done. So if people have been out for a walk or a jog, on the end of a curb, if you have a car there or a mailbox there, you can hang on for balance. That's a great way to do it there. And then I can even kind of bend my knees and kind of do the same thing, stretching out that soleus, which will be just a little bit lower my calf muscle to get that stretched out as well, okay? So that's one way to do it. If you have a curb and you can just put your foot up against the curb, having your toe up, you can kind of take your hips forward, keep that knee straight. You can do it that way as well, or against the side of your house. You can do that. So just taking your hips forward, you're going to feel that in your calf. Again, you do both sides, and then you can even kind of bend that knee as you do it and get that soleus down there. So that's another big muscle that people kind of often forget about, and so they'll develop kind of Achilles tendonitis just because that does get tight on them over time. So doing it with the knee straight, taking your hips and butt forward, and then doing it with your knee bent, taking your knee forward basically to stretch that out. 5 seconds, do 3 reps each leg. It's a good cool down way, okay? So another thing that will get tight on people, especially after walking and running, if your butt's a little bit weak, will be your IT bands. So an easy way to stretch your IT bands, I'm going to go this way first, where I have my arm against the wall or a tree or whatever you have out there. I have all my weight on my right leg, and my left leg's coming in front of me, but just putting it down there for balance. And then I'm driving my right hip towards the wall or towards the railing here. And I should feel a stretch down the outside here. This is a very wide band. It's very thick. Some people don't feel a stretch in that. Some people feel more of a stretch in their upper back. If you're getting this migration here, you're getting some flexibility in it, and it's a good thing to do, especially after you get done walking or running, because it's going to have blood flow and be a little bit looser. So again, I can switch to the other side. I would cross this leg, crossing over, holding it for balance on the floor, and then driving that hip there, holding for 5 seconds, and then relaxing. So let me give you a side view of that. Hopefully you can see this way. So if I'm hanging on here, so if I'm stretching this right side, I'm going to bring this leg across, and then I'm just slowly, I'm trying to keep this arm straight to kind of hold me off, and I'm stretching this. And again, I'm hooking onto my TFL, my tensor fasciae latae, hooking onto my IT band, going all the way down into my lateral knee. So any kind of outside hip pain or lateral hip pain or outside of your knee pain sometimes can be that IT band being tight. And so that's just a good way to stretch that out. So some people can do foam rollers. If you have foam rollers, you can roll that out too. But we're just going to do it standing here because not everybody has that opportunity to have that. So that's your IT band, okay? Okay, next, front of the hip and back of the hip. Front of the hip is going to be hip flexors and quads, okay? So hanging on for balance if you need to. This is where I talk about you have to maintain that straight upright posture. For some people, you just have to keep on breathing too, because when these things are hard, your stretches are hard, you will hold your breath. If you hold your breath, that tends to tighten up the muscle and makes it a little bit more difficult, and you don't get as good a stretch. So you're trying to breathe, hold yourself up nice and straight. If you can reach it, if you can't reach it, you might have to grab your pant leg or your shoe, but if you can reach it, you grab your ankle, and you're trying to pull backwards, keeping yourself up nice and straight, and then you're trying to pull it towards your butt. So the backwards part is probably the most important part. So when I watch high school kids, they tend to just do it like this, okay? So you have to get this lower leg behind your body and then pull it towards your butt. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then relax. So the biggest thing I see on cheating on this is just stretching it right here with this leg being out in front of you. That's a cheat. That's not going to work very good. The other thing I'll see is people kind of get it way back there, but then they're leaning forward. That's a cheat because you have to maintain this, because when we walk, this leg goes behind our body, or when we jog, it goes behind our body, and we're not necessarily leaning forward. So if we want to get good flexibility to this, we need to get it behind our body and then to our butt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, relax. This muscle is extremely important, especially for the sitters. So if you're at a desk where you're sitting all day long, this muscle is in this position all day long. And so when you go to stand and walk, it has to go back, and then our first step is here, which is behind our body. And if it's not very flexible, what it's going to do is it's going to squeeze down on my back, and that's going to cause low back pain. So I really think this is a good muscle to make sure that you're keeping flexible. I'll show you another way on the steps to kind of stretch this out. But it's important, extremely important, that it gets behind your spine. So my spine's a plumb line straight down me. This is getting behind there and stretching that out, really getting that flexibility there without the cheats, okay? Another way to do that, if you have a chair that's not on wheels, or if you have steps, you can kind of put your foot on the second step, keep your body in this upright position, and drive your hips. So I'm not driving my belly, I'm not driving my knee, I'm driving my hips forward, and my back might go backwards a little bit, but as I drive my hips forward, I should feel a stretch in the front of that hip as I'm taking that leg behind me. Again, I'm holding for 5 seconds, and then I'm just relaxing off. Again, when I get a good stretch that, I can feel a little bit of compression in my back when I'm doing that, just because how it comes from my front of my hip, dives through my belly, and then hooks onto my spine. So that's another good way. A lot of times I'll put a chair between the doorway, and then I can hang onto the door frame for balance, and then I can drive that forward. So again, depending on where you're doing your exercises, that's another good way to really stretch things out. If If I go out for a run, I usually do the heel to the butt one, but I can, if I'm flexible enough, I can get down on one knee. And same thing here, drive my hips forward and feel that stretch on the front of that hip. Hold for 5 seconds, and again, try to keep yourself in good alignment the whole time. So I'm just, again, I can do 3 on one side, it doesn't matter. So I'm driving my hips forward, and then I'm pushing, and I can put my hand back here and try to push my hips straight that way to feel a stretch in the front of that hip, holding for that 5 seconds, and relaxing off, and holding. So again, I'm not leaning forward, I'm not leaning off to the side, I'm driving myself straight forward from my hips, okay? That's a great one. Like I said, anybody that's sitting at a desk and a computer most of your day, those things are going to get tight over time. And then if we do that for 20, 30, 40 years, I can guarantee that's going to get tight unless you're working at it and loosening it up. Okay, so that was the front side. Now we're going to work on back side. So traditional hamstring stretches. So I don't want any bouncing. I want nice and slow. You can start out wide and kind of work on the insides of the hamstrings on the backside. And so I can just kind of come forward. And again, when I do this, I'm not bending at my back. So I can feel my hamstrings on the backside just by me coming here and keeping my back straight. So I don't have to touch the floor. I think everybody wants to touch the floor because they want to be able to say they can touch the floor. But if I do this, I'm getting a good stretch, and I already know that I'm feeling that back there. You got to keep your knees straight. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, relax. So I just like to throw this in because there's lots of people that learn different ways to stretch your hamstrings, and I'm not going to say any of them are wrong, but I want to make sure that you're doing the one that you like the best, you do it right. And so you're only bending from your hips, and you're sticking your butt out, holding that back straight, till you feel it pulling there, and then you're just holding for 5 seconds. So that gets a little bit more of the medial hamstring, and so if you do it that way, traditionally I'll have you cross over and then get more of that lateral hamstring when you come down. And again, I'm just kind of bending at my hips. I got my legs crossed, and I'm just coming down, bending at my hip until I feel that stretch in my hamstring. Holding the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, relax, and then I would have to switch legs and do the other side. If you're in a hurry, you can just have your feet together and just do the same thing. That works too. The crisscross and wide stance just kind of emphasizes outer hamstring and then inner hamstring to kind of get a little bit more specific with that, okay? So those are different ways to do hamstrings. Again, if you had the steps, or if you had a tailgate of a truck when you come back from walking, or if you have the chair between the door frame, you could put your foot on the second step, you can put it on the third step, whatever you got for flexibility. Again, you're staying up nice and straight, you're bending from your hips, you're not bending from your back. And if I take my toe to my nose and just come forward from my hips, I can feel that stretch in my hamstring already, okay? And I'm capable of touching my toes, but it doesn't look like it when I come here, okay? So right when I come there, I can feel that hamstring stretching. It's a good tension. I'm not trying to kill myself off, okay? Good tension, hold for 5 seconds, and then relax off. So, again, nice and easy. I don't have to kill myself. Other leg, toes towards my nose will tighten things up a little bit more, and I'm just taking my chest forward, not downward, okay? So I can go downward, I can touch, but I'm getting just as good benefit as this of really stretching that out, holding for 5, okay? Okay, what do I got left? I got adductors. So a lot of times when I get down, I'll do lunges. If I get down here, I can go here, and then instead of going forward where I would do my hip flexor stretching, I'll take that leg out to the side, and then I'm driving this hip this way, and I might feel a little stretch in the front of this one, and feel a little stretch in there. So again, I'm just holding for 5 seconds, relaxing, and then I would do both sides for those 3 reps each side. So there's some specific people that were asking for stretches, and so this is kind of giving you a hodgepodge of a bunch of different stretches. I will say you have to do it slow. You have to do it with tension, not pain, and when you get done, it should feel good. So if you hold your breath if you bounce, if you do it fast, you're not going to get near the benefit of it. So this is a cool down, so we should be relaxing and cooling down as we're doing this, not in a hurry to go. Obviously we are in a hurry to go do things, but we got to try not to have that mentality. The more high strung you are, the more anxious you are, the more you got stuff going on. Your nervous system's going to be wound up, and it's going to be running at a lot higher RPMs, and that's going to make your muscles tighter, so it's going to be harder to stretch those, is what I'm going to tell you. Okay? I think that, well, another version of that, if you can't get down on your knees, just keep your feet far apart, and then you're just kind of driving off to the one side, so you're getting that upper part here. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you can do alternating, or you can do the same side, doesn't matter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just back and forth. And that can get that same thing. Not quite as aggressive as being down on your knee, but you're still getting the same concept. So again, I'm trying to give you guys a lot of different options that everybody's capable of figuring out how to do at least one of those options, okay? I think it's a huge benefit for everybody, so the more we do, the better off we are. So one final dab to my children. Have a great day, and keep moving. This is what PT is all about. Have a good day. Bye.